Hi, my name is Josh Armstrong. I'm a PhD student in Dr. James Vonish's lab at VCU. Today I'm going to be presenting my project in which I modeled invasion drivers of an invasive macrophyte, Hydrilla verticillata, in riverine rock pools. Invasive species have been shown to pose a significant threat to global biodiversity by altering habitats and outcompeting native species. In the United States alone, there are approximately 4,300 invasive species, most of which are plants. Out of that, about 450 species are aquatic. As a result of damages and management programs, it has been estimated that invasive species cost approximately $120 billion a year in the United States. Understanding drivers of invasion and or what makes an invasion successful has been the central goal of invasion ecology for decades. Colonization and extinction dynamics have been shown to be key processes for invasion success. These dynamics are influenced by spatial, temporal, environmental, and biotic factors. Some examples of these factors are habitat size, isolation, and characteristics, the fragmentation of habitats across a landscape, and the dispersibility of organisms. Disturbances such as flooding or anthropogenic effects have been shown to facilitate invasion by disturbing the native communities, allowing invasives to easily colonize. Hydrilla verticillata is one of the most notorious aquatic invasive plants in the United States. Originally from Asia, it was introduced to the US in 1960. Since then, it has caused significant problems in lakes and stream systems. Besides negative biotic effects of hydrilla, it has significant economic impacts as well. It hurts local communities by disrupting boating, tourism, and fishing businesses. Just in Florida alone, hydrilla management is estimated to cost $14.5 million per year. Hydrilla is present in the James River system, especially in the rock pools. We know that it has at least been in the rock pools since 2012 when it was first recorded in our data set, but it has most likely been there longer. My work with hydrilla is done in the James River rock pools, found right alongside the James River in the heart of Richmond. This pool system is comprised of over 700 individual rock pools, all of which have been mapped. Another graduate student in the lab has created a flood model for the pools and found that between 50 to 75% of the pools flood approximately 8 times per year. The size of the pools is highly variable, but on average, they have a volume of 0.27 cubic meters. Occupancy studies have classically been used to track distribution patterns by presence absence data of plants and animals, including invasive species. Most of these studies are usually just a snapshot in time. The occupancy data is then used to model a species occupancy, corrected for detection probability in a specific habitat. By using a dynamic multi-year occupancy modeling approach, we can take many years worth of occupancy data and model colonization and extinction dynamics, as well as occupancy and detection. Colonization and extinction events are considered as any time a habitat has a transition in occupied state. The aim of this study was to determine the potential drivers of occupancy, colonization, and extinction of hydrilla. We expected that occupancy would be positively influenced by pool volume. We also expected colonization to be positively influenced both by distance to source populations and flooding frequency. Finally, we expected extinction to be influenced by dispersal ability and pool characteristics. Hydrilla presence absence data from 2017 to 2020 was used in this analysis, encompassing 373 rock pools. There were 90 colonization events and 62 extinction events during that time frame. After reviewing the literature, variables thought to influence these processes were used in the models. All continuous data was standardized, and all possible combinations of additive models were run and compared via Akaki's information criterion comparison methods. These are the top performing models of occupancy, colonization, and extinction. Occupancy, colonization, and extinction probabilities were then predictively modeled as a function of significant covariates. We found that the probability of occupancy increased as the height at which a pool floods is increased, or flood height is what we call it. A high flood height means that a rock pool is less connected to the river, but most importantly, there is also less disturbance, in this case, flooding. The probability of colonization was greater in pools with bigger volumes, higher flood heights, and that were closer to other hydrilla occupied pools. The probability of extinction was greater in pools with smaller volumes, lower flood heights, and that were further away from other hydrilla pools. By comparing the model coefficient estimates, we were able to determine the magnitude and directional effect of predictor variables in each process model. Even though other variables were significant in the models, flood height was the only significant predictor present in all three processes and had the greatest magnitude of effect. So, revisiting our hypotheses, occupancy was influenced by flood height, not pool volume, as we expected. Colonization was influenced by the distance to a source population and flooding. However, flooding had the opposite effect of what we expected. Extinction was influenced by dispersal ability and pool characteristics, volume and flood height. Pool flood height was the strongest predictor for each process, and flooding overall had a negative impact on hydrilla occupancy, colonization, and extinction. It has been thought that most invaders take advantage of disturbance to invade communities. However, in the rock pool system, we found that disturbance is actually limiting invasion success. Using these modeling techniques with historical data of invasive species, it may be possible to pinpoint specific predictors of invasion across many other systems and taxa. Management plans could then be targeted at those predictors to manage or decrease invasion success in an ecosystem. I would like to thank these people and organizations for help with this project. Thank you, and I will now take questions.